Hello, seventh grade math students. We're going to be talking about percents all week. So to start, I'm going to show you a percent model. Okay, a percent model is where you take a rectangle and you break it into sections representing percents, kind of like the way you did fraction strips years ago. So the first one, which we would think of as a fraction strip for 1/2, is the percent model for 50%. So a whole model is 100%. And you can break it into parts. Since this one is broken into two parts, each one of those is 50%. 100 divided by 2 is 50. The second model has 100% broken into four parts. 100% divided by 4 is 25. So each one of those represents 25%. The good thing about the 25% model is not only can you use it for 25%, but you can also use it for 50% if you have two sections, 75% for three sections. And the last one is the one we're going to use the most, especially today, and that's the model for 10%. This bar has been broken into 10 parts. 100% divided by 10 gives you 10% for each parts. So this is a basis for what we're doing today, the percent model. So let me show you one that you've actually used several times before and you didn't even know it. Okay, look at this. When you look at your cell phones, Chromebooks, anything that has electronics, a lot of times you see these models. And this is actually a percent bar model. You didn't even realize it. So the first one, if you see that, that's 100% battery fully charged. If you see the second one, you think my battery's about 50%, half as much charged as it isn't charged. And the last one, I know I'm about to get into trouble. That looks like, I say a little, maybe less than 20% there. So that battery's getting pretty low, gonna have to plug in soon. So these are pretty much bar models that you've been working with for a long time. And we're gonna be using those bar models to solve problems. So here's a problem like we're gonna solve. We're gonna use this bar model to find 75% of 48. So let's see if I can drag this over, make it bigger. Oops. So the bar model is already drawn into four parts, and you can see where 25% is there. So I'm going to draw on this. So the way I usually label my bar models is I put percents across the bottom. So this is 0, and this is 100. And then I would put my 25, 50, and 75 across the bottom. Okay, it says 75% of 48. So across the top is where you put the numbers, and your whole is 48, so it goes in the top right. And just like 100% has been broken into four parts, we're also going to break 48 into four parts. 48 divided by 4, since there are four sections, is 12. So each one of these bars, or each one of these benchmarks, represents 12. Here's 12. Then another 12 would make this 24. Plus another 12 is 36. And finally 48. So since the bottom represents percents, and I forgot to put my percent symbols on there, if I want to find 75% of 48, I would just look right here, and I'd see 25% is 12. The good thing about this visual model that we have is we can find several answers. For example, if I said, what's 75% of, oh, I'm sorry, that's not 75%, that's 25%, my bad. We want 75% right there. 75% is 36. So what I was going to say is the good thing about this bar model is I can also find 25%. 25% is 12, or 50%, which is 24. Sorry about that mistake there. All right, let's go back and look at another one. Try not to make a mistake on this one. Oh, this may be the wrong one. Okay. Okay, this is it. This is the bar model we're going to be using on our assignment today. It's the bar model that shows 10 parts. I like the 10 parts because it's easy to separate that to 10, 20, 30, 40. all the way up through 100. And the question says, what is 60%? Make this a little bigger. What is 60% of 120? So I've already got the 100% across the bottom. The bar model you're going to have is not going to have the numbers across the bottom, but you can easily think 10, 20, 30, 40, up to 100. And then it says of 120 right here, of 120. So that means my bar model totals 120. And remember, the top left starts at 0. So maybe you don't know what each one of these sections are, but I do see it is separated into 10 parts, and 120 divided by 10 is 12. That means we're going to skip count by 12s across the top. 12, 24, and keep adding 12. And the problem asks for 60%. Move this out of the way. 60%. So I'm going to look right here. 60%. Oh, that's not 60%. I'm making all kinds of mistakes today. Okay. 60%. Oh, I made a mistake that a lot of students might have made. I was looking at the top, but I need to look at 60%, which is right here. So it looks like 60% matches with 72. So what is 60% of 120? It would be 72. Not only will you be asked for percents that are divisible by 10, but you might also be asked something like, what is 20, let's say 35% of 120? So let me write that problem first. What is 35% of 120? So the model is set up the same way, but now we're going to find 35. So using my highlighter here, 35 goes right there, halfway between 30 and 40. Halfway between 36 is not quite as easy to think about. If you get stuck, what you might try to do is write 36 and 48 and just start making your way to the inside. Like I know the next number would be 37. And if I go backwards here, that would be 47. Go up another number, down another number. And I keep working my way back, and I find the number that is right there in the middle is 42. So halfway between 36 and 48 is 42. So it doesn't necessarily have to be on one of those tick marks. It could be between some of those. Okay, let me show you the assignment for today. Okay, it looks like this. It's going to have a box where you can click to write your answer. Let me pull this bigger. And we're going to do number 1 together. There are 30 students in Mr. Roberts' homeroom. I left out the word in. 45% of the students ride the bus. How many students ride the bus? You're going to have this in a digital copy, so you can either think in your head 10, 20, 30, 40, or you can draw it on paper. Since I have it here, I'm going to write on it. I know across the bottom I put the percents, so I'm going to label my percents across the bottom. Percents always go across the bottom. Then it says there are 30 students. That's the total students, so that's the 100%. So the 30 goes where the 100% is, and the 0 over here. We're going to take 30 and we're going to separate into these 10 parts. So 30 divided by 10 is 3. So we're going to skip count by 3s. As if the ball game downstairs weren't enough of a distraction. My cat has decided to join me here. Oh, goodness. Okay. Come here, Anna. This is my cat, Anna. So once we have this labeled, we're going to look for, it looks like 45%. So I have to look at 45%, which is halfway between 40 and 50. So you have to think about halfway between 12 and 15. Okay, if this is 12 and this is 15. Go up a little bit. There's 13 and 14. It's going to be halfway between 13 and 14. Halfway between 13 and 14 is 12.5. So I'm going to go ahead and write my answer of 12.5 students. But that sounds a little strange, 12.5 students. If this were a problem we're working out in class, we'd go ahead and say we'll round that to 13 students. But because this one is multiple select, you're going to choose the one that says 12.5 students. Plus, we're just practicing finding percents right now, so we want to be as accurate as possible. Okay, I hope this helps. There's a total of 8 problems. This is the first one, so you can go ahead and select your answer for number 1 and then continue working. I can't figure out how to close it. I still can't figure out